Tonight we talk about football, parents behaving badly, and we have a conversation with our brand new police chief. Roll it, Scott. Well, how's it going? Hopefully you had a great week and you're ready to get into the weekend as we round the corner in the football season. But tonight we got a conversation with our new police chief, TJ Morris, who's here with us in studio for the first time on the show to talk about getting this job. Now, you and I have known each other for a very long time, so I'm going to ask you a question on air that I've asked you before. Why toss your name into the hat for this job?
So when the opening came available, Chief Paul announced his retirement and it looked like we were going to need a new chief. I've always been somebody that when something needed to be done, step up to the plate and do it. So I saw that there was a need. I saw the department, some things needed to be done with inside the department, some things needed to be done on the outside with the community, and I thought, who better to do the job than me?
So what experience, you were previously with the academy, so you were bringing in the newly minted officers who were going to be a part of the Baton Rouge Police Department. What skill set do you think you bring to this job to have a benefit to your department?
So I have a unique experience, especially coming from within the department, 15 years on SWAT. Last 7.5 years or so being at the training academy. So I get to put my hands on everybody inside the department through in-service training. Of course, all the new officers, train them. Anybody that's been hired within the last 7.5 years, directly train them. So I come with a unique experience of getting to know the men and women of the Baton Rouge Police Department, and then also getting to teach a lot of just civilian classes when it comes to our civilian academy, our women's self-defense, concealed carry classes, things like that. I've got to deal with the community a lot.
Yeah, I know that's one thing that, again, being in the training academy, having worked in SWAT, that you've been in the streets, you know the reality in the neighborhoods where crime is at its worst. So as you come in and you've had a few days now to look around your department now from the C-suite and analyze everything you have and everything you need, what would you say would be the top assets that you recognize coming in that you know you got working like a smoothly run machine, and then what are the liabilities that you have to address immediately?
So our department, let me just first say, our department is top tier, top notch. I don't think we get the recognition a lot of times that we deserve across the country. We're in the press, and when we do make mistakes, we need to own up to those 100%. But 99% of our officers are law enforcement professionals that are doing a great job. And the department as a whole, I get to travel the country a lot, taking classes, teaching classes, and doing that, I see that Baton Rouge Police Department is a premier law enforcement agency across the country. So we have a lot of things that are going really well, a lot of things that are happening smoothly.
Like what?
Specifically, I think our training academy, not to be biased because that's where I come from, right? But our training, we mandate that our officers go through about 2 times the minimum number of hours that is required by post to be a police officer in the state of Louisiana. We do double the amount of recurring training minimum a year, plus all the other additional classes that we give just because we feel that we need to when it comes to duty intervene, procedural justice, the bias-based training, all the scenario-based training that we do. Training is our top notch. Other areas, we shine in a lot of aspects. Our SWAT team across the country is recognized as being really good. Our motorcycle division wins competitions all over the place. Our boots on the ground and our guys out there doing good work. Our medical program. In 2016, we stepped up our medical program, issuing officers first aid and trauma kits. So we average about somewhere between 75 and 100 uses of those medical kits, whether it's putting on tourniquets to stop somebody from bleeding, or chest seals, or administering CPR, and now Narcan. All of our officers are issued Narcan, and we use that regularly as well.
What do you have to fix now coming in?
So I think the main things going forward that we're going to have to fix, and I'm having these listening sessions not only in the community but with the department as well, is morale, officer well-being, just mental health, wellness, and then on the community side, just building that trust back. We took a hit with the Brave Cave investigation that I'm stepping into, hitting the ground running, been getting briefings on that. We took a big hit with community trust and faith, and so restoring that is top priority for me as well.
So you brought up Brave Cave, and I know that taking over the job, you've got to come in and understand what the situation is. Look, not my first rodeo. I know there are things about this you cannot talk about because it's an ongoing process, but how could this happen? Is that something you can speak to? Like, how could this be happening inside the department and so many people in charge not know about it?
So, like you said, a lot of it I'm not going to speak on right now. Top goal definitely is transparency, and we're going to have those conversations very soon in the near future. But it is definitely something I'm looking at, because I believe one of the quotes I like is, "Those that don't learn from history are destined to repeat it." Mm-hmm. So we do not want to make the same mistakes we've made in the past. So we're going to look at whether it was a failure on supervision, whether it's a failure in oversight. What are those failures that happened, so that we can make sure that we don't make those same mistakes?
When we come back from commercial break, I want to talk with you a little bit about the public's confidence in your agency, and then your goals, both overall for BRPD and then for you as police chief. We're talking with new police chief TJ Morris about what's happening at the Baton Rouge Police Department. Still to come in the show, Matt Moscone is going to be here. I don't know why, but he's going to be here to talk about the football season that's rounding to a close. And then what about some of these parents out there at soccer games and football? Got somebody to talk about that too. Back in just a moment. Still talking with Chief Morris. Are you used to being called that yet?
It's still sinking in, slowly but surely. Things happen. I got being recognized out in public and people coming up to me. It's like, oh yeah, that's me.
And so you're still in the honeymoon phase right now.
Yes, sir.
Well, no, this is the South. Those don't last long down here. So we talked about, you mentioned Brave Cave going into break and then working with the community to build trust. What's your approach to that, and to building more trust with the community in your department?
So I think most people that I've talked to, it's more of a, hey, don't tell me, but show me. Mm-hmm. And that's going to take time, unfortunately. And I hope that they pay attention to what I'm doing, to what the department's doing. Give us a chance to earn that trust back.
You're one of the younger police chiefs to have ever been appointed to this department, and you talked about your experience in different areas, from SWAT to the training academy. Your perspective, being a younger chief, is different. How do you describe how you view being a police officer versus any of your predecessors or even some of your colleagues in law enforcement?
So my motto on being a police officer is very simple. One, I think it's a calling. Mm-hmm. It's not just a job, it's not just something you do, but it's something you are and something you live. And then two, it's all about being that law enforcement professional. You don't have the luxury of getting your feelings hurt, and you don't have the luxury of having a bad day sometimes, right? We all go through them, but it's, even though things are going on in my personal life, I turn it on to be that law enforcement professional. That's kind of my view. And then taking every day, reason I chose local law enforcement over going the federal route, which is what I thought I was going to do. Going to LSU, graduating from LSU with a computer degree, I always thought I was going to go that federal route, but I chose local law enforcement because this is where you can make a difference. You can make a difference in community. You can really see the change that you're making to people. Just coming up, working in North Baton Rouge, 1st District, Gus Young was my stomping ground for 4 or 5 years. I was able to make a lot of connections in that area with the people, seeing that I could actually help and reach out to people.
So that is a fantastic segue to what I was going to ask you next. The Gus Young area and communities that look like that are very near and dear to my heart. The disinvested parts of our community, I do think we have a responsibility to always reach back, always help, especially those who are in tough spots. I know you would agree that while people on the outside think that those communities don't want to see police, they want to see police more.
Yes.
They want to interact with police more. We commissioned, the foundation I'm a part of commissioned a study done by Southern University, and one of the things that they found is the community says, not only do we want to see more cops, we want to see more white cops. So how do you get into those communities and build that trust? Because that trust is essential to helping with crime.
Yeah, 1,000%. We need the community's help. I've said it over and over again. It is not just a police matter, but it's an everyone matter, getting down crime, especially violent crime. And we need the community's help. We need those eyes and ears on the street. And that is just a everyday talking to people, and not talking from I'm up here and you're down here, but talking on the same level. Cops are the community, and the community are cops. We come from the same place, and we have the same goal to wanting to help and decrease crime and make everyone's life just overall better.
Got about a minute. What are your goals for 2024? For you and for your department?
Yeah, so goals for 2024 is right now laid out my 100-day plan. which is gather, gain, and give. Right now, I'm going through that gather phase where I'm just trying to have as many meetings, talk to as many people as I can. And overall goals is going to be reduce crime, make better quality of life for people, and then build that trust with the community so that we can work together to accomplish that.
Well, look, one of these times that we're out in the community doing some stuff, I'll give you a call to come out there, because I think it's important for them to touch and see and communicate with their chief. Jeff LaDuff was great at it. Chief Paul did it, and I know you're going to be focused on doing that too.
Yes, sir, definitely.
So, not the first time we're going to talk, brother. I appreciate you coming.
I really appreciate it, Clay.
Let's talk about parents and the way some of the parents behave at sports events. But first, check this out. This is a community event happening in District 10 at the Leo S. Butler Center. Now, it's for kids ages, 3 to 8, or grades 3 to 8. So check that out. Leo S. Butler Center going on right now. Hands on our children. You're welcome, Councilwoman Coleman. So Roderick Royal, not only being a fantastic father, a former NFL player, former college referee, is also a mental health professional here in Baton Rouge, wearing many hats. So we were having a conversation a couple weeks ago, and the conversation shifted to kids and youth sports, and specifically the way some of the parents carry on. And you've reffed at every level. Talk about that a little bit, and from a referee standpoint, what it feels and looks like to you when you see parents just acting like, out there with their kids in front of them.
Right, it's very, very, very frustrating because, no one is perfect. Yeah. And it's all about angles when you officiate. Yeah. You can be in one spot and see one thing, and then someone sitting in the stands can see something else. Yeah. It's to the point to where I feel like some rules or something needs to be in place to protect officials because it's actually getting out of hand.
What's the worst thing you've experienced as an official at any level?
Sad thing that I've actually seen an individual actually put his hands on a woman.
Really?
Yes. Yes. Very terrible. Very terrible, yes.
I mean, when my son played for the YMCA, I coached, and I couldn't wait for him to be done with that because I never wanted to touch that again. It was not the best experience, and it was mostly because of the parents and the way the parents behaved. So putting your mental health hat on, psychologically, the impact it has on a kid who you're trying to teach principles of life and character and accountability, when the parents act like that, doesn't it just mess it up?
It does. So it spreads like a wildfire. So it starts from the stands, then it goes down to the coach, and then the coach onto the court. And what happens is you have a lot of parents that are living through their children and want them to excel to levels that they never gotten to. And so apply the pressure on the kid is stressed, and the parent becomes stressed as well, and they just want everything to go perfect for that.
You played at the highest level. What would be your advice to, because nowadays the kids are an investment from junior high.
Correct.
I mean, they have nutrition plans and workout plans and sleep schedules and all of that. It's a lot of pressure, but I also understand the investment. What's your advice to a parent or guardian of a young man or a young woman who has potential to play professionally in some sport?
First thing is let your kid or let them experience all the adversity as possible. Adversity builds character. If they experience it early on, they'll be able to handle it as they get older. As now as we see the transfer portal has a lot of individuals transferring anytime they deal with adversity. That worries me because I think down the long run, that's going to cause a lot of problems with someone that's dealing with things, they're going to run away from it. So the biggest thing is just let them deal with adversity, be there to pick them up, advise them, and lead them in the right direction.
What about on the financial side? What advice would you give? Because I mean, a lot of these kids come from nothing and end up with more money than they'd ever imagined. What would be your advice about that?
My advice with that would be to just educate yourself. Surround yourself with someone that's been in that position or that is going in that direction. And interview everyone. Get a second, third, fourth opinion so you can make sure that the financial situation is done correctly.
In the last couple of minutes we have here, mental health. I know it's important. You and I have had conversations about encouraging, and we talk about encouraging men to be vulnerable enough to say when they're not okay. Talk about that a little bit.
So what happens is this one thing that's called pride. As you know, most men are prideful, and they want to hold everything in. You have to be the big tough guy and not express yourself. That shows the signs of weakness. But over time, the more you express yourself, it's all about getting it out. When you get it out, you release more, you feel better. You're actually learning how to cope with certain things. And the biggest thing about that as well is surrounding yourself with a group of like-minded individuals that you can trust to express yourself.
Yeah. So the circle is everything. And then, finally, mentoring. I referenced earlier how, I think you are a fantastic father. Your boys they're always doing something sports-wise, or y'all are out fishing or whatever. Mentoring. A lot of these young men, my nephew's here today. He's, I believe in that, like mentoring and helping these young men realize they're not alone. What's your advice about mentoring?
Mentoring, just, I believe that everyone should pick 1 to 2 individuals that they can mentor. Lead by example. Be there for them. Actually, just gather someone that you can take under your wing and expose them to certain things and certain things in life that they're not getting exposed to. And that's the biggest thing about mentoring, just exposure.
Well, in our culture, like when the first time I met Chauncey, who kind of became my nephew, and we got together, my only advice to him was pay it forward.
Right.
Because that's what we believe in, pay it forward. You don't owe me anything, pay it forward.
Right.
And I think the more we do that for these young men, the better it's going to be. Look, brother, I got to have you on the audio podcast so we can talk more. Rob Royal, up next, Matt Moscone is going to talk about the Super Bowl. Can't wait to hear what he's got to say about that.
Right.
If you've never experienced whiskey and wine, and no, I'm not talking about the beverages, well, maybe I am, you might want to check it out. There is a show. It was the post-game show for the LSU football season, but coming up on Super Bowl Sunday, it's a companion broadcast, and it's going to be happening live where?
Don Juan Cigar Bar. That is actually award-winning whiskey and wine, Louisiana Association of Broadcasters' best use of digital media. Can you believe it?
Wow.
They gave me and T-Bob a trophy. Unbelievable.
So who has custody of the trophy?
It resides in our studio.
Right.
So
right.
we co-parent the trophy.
Tell people what happens at Whiskey and Wine, and particularly what's going to happen at this one.
Yes, so as soon as LSU games finish, clock hits 0, T-Bob Hebert and I are live at Don Juan Cigar Bar for an unfiltered, uncensored live stream show.
Understatement.
But we've broken post-game shows, traditional post-game shows. It's kind of incredible the support we've gotten. So we'll do a live companion show during Super Bowl Sunday as well at Don Juan. So come on out and join us at Don Juan, or you can watch along.
Listen, throw in enthusiasm for the LSU Tigers, a crowd that's fired up, and the fact that T-Bob has been drinking for 5 hours before they actually go on the air, and that's not an exaggeration.
No, that's not an exaggeration.
I don't think this could exist anywhere but on YouTube.
That's fair.
Or HBO.
We would be fired instantly if any of this went over broadcast TV or radio.
All right, let's talk about the Super Bowl that's going to happen a week from this Sunday between the Kansas City Chiefs and the San Francisco 49ers. I already know what you're going to do. Yeah.
Rematch.
Yeah, I already know what you're going to do. Just go on and make your pick against the Niners, and then tell me why you think that's going to happen.
Well, I have actually nailed this postseason. We do our weekly postseason picks, and I have lapped the field on our show.
Sure.
I've missed 3 games the whole postseason. 2 of them were picking against the Kansas City Chiefs. And that's to my detriment. So I'm not picking against the Niners. I think they're a wonderful team, and they might even be better than the Chiefs. I'm just not picking against the Chiefs again.
Look, I'm going to be honest. I think the 49ers are a better team. The thing that tips the scale is just Patrick Mahomes.
I think there's 2 things. Patrick Mahomes, of course, is one of them. And even when we start to look at, like, this Chiefs team, no Cheetah, you look at some of the weapons that are gone, some of the injuries they've had. Kadarius Toney's a head case right now.
Yeah.
They have more drops than any team in the NFL, yet they're back in the Super Bowl for the 4th time in 5 years. And I think one of the things we noticed in this game with the Ravens and the Chiefs, the AFC Championship game, is experience matters.
Yeah.
We saw stupid personal fouls.
Yeah.
We saw Zay Flowers, finally makes a big play, taunts the defensive back, fumbles at the goal line.
Yeah.
Experience of being in the game and expecting to make the plays the Chiefs have it, and I think that matters. So, and with the coaching, look, I think Harbaugh is a great coach.
No, he is, but I don't know the scheme of not having him run and use his athletic gifts.
I've also watched the 49ers in big spots. Well, Shanahan blowing a 28-3 lead with the Falcons, and then blowing a 10-point lead in the 4th quarter in the Super Bowl against these Kansas City Chiefs.
Jimmy Garoppolo.
I will lead or lean Andy Reid, of course, and Patrick Mahomes. Experience matters in this game. And the other thing, too, and there's two ways to look at the Niners with what's happened the last 2 weeks. One is, man, you got outplayed by Green Bay.
In the first half.
And yes, for 3 quarters. And the first half, you got outplayed by Detroit, and you were down by 17.
Yeah.
So there's 2 ways to look at it. You don't play your best against Kansas City, you're going to find yourself in a hole you can't dig out of. But number 2, the flip side of that is you credit a team for knowing when to kick, when to put it into gear, and when to go win. And so finding yourself down against Detroit the way they were was shocking, but you credit the team for never getting rattled and finding a way to come back and win.
I never had a doubt we were going to win that game.
Against Detroit?
Yep.
Oh.
I was telling Leah walking into here, I actually have a text message I sent before the half was over to a friend of mine saying, you're about to witness the greatest second half ever.
I'm not interested in your text message.
Well, I'm just telling you.
Talk is cheap.
You want me to show you the text?
I don't care about your text.
All right, then.
Talk is cheap. I would have been impressed if you would have gone and made a large money line wager at halftime on the 49ers when they were down 17.
I'm not a degenerate like you.
That doesn't mean you're a degenerate.
I didn't need to do that.
That doesn't mean you're a degenerate.
I've got faith in my team.
But talk is cheap. Actions speak louder than words. I don't care what you texted somebody during the game.
You're right. Super Bowl experience matters. The Niners have Super Bowl experience. They've won 5. They've won 5 Super Bowls. I mean, where did those come from?
Do you have fake Super Bowl rings?
We have replicas of the rings.
Why would you have those?
Those were a Father's Day gift.
Why, though?
Because I raised great
Hey,
children.
are those, that's not like a real replica, right? I thought some of the old ones would be way smaller.
No, I've got large hands. I'll tell you about that later. All right, going into the game.
I have unnaturally large hands for a guy that's only 6 feet tall. I do. 30 seconds. I got 10-inch hands. I got bigger hands than
I got 30 seconds. Who's winning the game?
The Chiefs. I'm picking Chiefs.
All right, I'm picking you know who I'm picking. Listen.
It would be great to be a fake front-running fan like Clay. Hey, let's just be from Louisiana and cheer for the team that wins.
I love all this.
Like all those Baton Rouge natives that used to be Alabama fans that aren't anymore. You know who you are. I'm coming right after you.
Love this bitterness.
Your hero's gone. How's that going to go now?
Still
right?
Can't see us.
Alabama fans from Baton Rouge.